If you work in tech in Tokyo, you hear the same words every day. AI, compute, 8K, performance, faster chips, bigger numbers. But down in Kyoto, there's this one company that almost refuses to play that game. Their hardware often looks underpowered on paper. Their games rarely get those crazy 80% off discounts. And yet, they sit on a ridiculous amount of cash. That company is Nintendo. And today, I don't want to talk about console wars. I don't want to argue about teraflops. I want to talk about the system. How does Nintendo actually run? How do they really make money? And what do they do that's genuinely different from Sony and Microsoft? Here's my simple take. Nintendo is basically a three-layer machine. Layer 1, hardware that's cost-controlled, so they don't need to bleed money just to sell consoles. Layer 2, first-party IP that lasts forever, games that can sell for years. Layer 3, a platform plus digital ecosystem that makes margins smoother and more predictable over time. Let's break it down. Layer 1, not chasing specs isn't cheap. It's cost curve control. A lot of people look at Nintendo and think they're behind, or they're being conservative. But if you look at it like an engineer, it's not about being behind. It's about managing the cost curve. The spec race is simple. You want better graphics, so you need more powerful chips. Then you need more cooling. Then you get more supply chain risk. Then your costs go up. And now you're in this world where you basically have to subsidize the hardware to compete. Nintendo doesn't love that world. They'd rather use mature, stable, affordable tech, and then pour their creativity into what actually changes the experience, interaction, and gameplay. Because for most people, what decides whether they play a game isn't resolution, it's friction. Can you understand it instantly? Can you start in 2 minutes? Can your friend or your kid jump in without a tutorial? While other companies compete on how real does it look, Nintendo competes on can you play right now? And that choice changes the business. If your hardware doesn't require constant heavy subsidies, you don't get dragged around by volatility. You can build a healthier system where the real profits come from the next layer, software. Layer 2, Nintendo's IP isn't content, it's long-life assets. This is where Nintendo gets scary. Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, these aren't just products. They're like digital real estate. Real estate is valuable because people keep coming back to the location, and Nintendo owns some of the best locations in entertainment history. So instead of living and dying by the next release, they build assets that keep producing value for years. A perfect example is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That game didn't have a one-year moment. It had a multi-year life. It just kept selling. And when a game can sell for that long, the economics get beautiful. The development cost got paid back a long time ago, and the long tail becomes steady cash flow. And here's the key point. You can't brute force this with money. You can buy chips, you can buy marketing, you can buy studios, but you can't easily buy multi-generational emotional attachment. That kind of IP compounding takes time. Layer 3, Nintendo targets the whole room, not just hardcore gamers. Nintendo's audience strategy is also very different. They're not only chasing the people who want the most realistic graphics, they're optimizing for a bigger situation. The living room, families, friends, parties, kids, casual players, people who just want something fun that works. That creates two massive advantages. One, lower marketing friction. You don't need to explain who Mario is. Nintendo already has cultural default status. 2, longer lifetime value. People play Nintendo as kids, then they grow up and buy Zelda, then they have a family and Nintendo becomes the safe pick again. It's not one purchase, it's an emotional cycle across life stages. And Nintendo also has something most platforms would kill for, strong first-party supply. They don't just rely on other publishers to carry the system. They can feed the platform with their own hits, on their own schedule. That makes the whole machine more stable. The cash. It's not conservative, it's redundancy. Now let's talk about the cash. People see Nintendo's cash pile and say, Japanese companies are conservative. But if you think in systems terms, it's something else. It's redundancy. Gaming is volatile. A console generation can go wrong. A bet can miss. And Nintendo has lived through the lows. So, that cash gives them freedom. They can keep investing even when the market is shaky. They can take risks on gameplay instead of chasing short-term financial optics. They don't have to compromise creativity just to please investors next quarter. In plain terms, the cash lets them stay stubborn. The real secret, Nintendo can upgrade without breaking the system. So what's Nintendo's real superpower? They've learned how to evolve hardware without breaking everything. Hardware can change, but the player identity stays. The library stays. The characters stay. The trust stays. It's basically a hot swap. And that's why judging Nintendo by specs misses the point. Specs age, but systems compound. Nintendo controls costs on hardware, compounds value through IP, and stabilizes margins through platform plus digital. That's the machine. I'm Minato, a Tokyo-based engineer. If you like this kind of company as a system breakdown, subscribe. Next time, we'll take apart another one.